All right, if you've gotten this far, you should know theoretically how to set up a Kanban board. What I'm going to do now with you is create an entirely new Agile project using an online system called Trello, which you can access for free at Trello.com. We're going to make up an imaginary website for an imaginary charity with some functionality that we're going to guess at. I'm going to take you all the way through coming up with the idea, through to the stuff that sets you up for the first week of work. We're going to start by making a new board. Let's say that our website is about reuniting refugees website. Cool. I'm going to create a team. Our first step, like Claire told us, is to make a giant list of things that we want the website to do. List of things. Cool. In our giant list of things to do, we're going to want a home page, donate functionality. We're going to want terms and conditions. We'll need like an email sign up for our newsletter. What else are our stakeholders going to need? We're going to want like an about us page and about our board. It's kind of good at this stage to just go hog wild and do as many things as you possibly can because you can always remove things later. So we're going to kind of guess at the stuff that other people in the org might want to have. So we'll probably need some kind of blog where we can have updates. Maybe we want to do some kind of crowdfunding page for a specific project that we're doing. We might look at other people's websites and steal stuff that they've got, like a community page for people that are doing community action. And let's say that we're going to want some other stuff that's not pages on the website, like credit card storing. You know, we want to store credits on the website so that we can take people's money month by month. Let's say that we're going to start with that. The next step in Agile process is to create the columns. So this big list of things turns into our backlog. We're going to add an item called this week, which is stuff we're going to do this week. We're going to have things that we test with people to see if they're a good idea. And then we're going to have another one that's called launch or on the site. Just close this. Launch on the site. This is a really short list of stuff, short list of things and only 4 columns. We could get more complicated, but let's just keep it basic for now. Now that we've done our columns and we know that we're going to need to take all of these things through these columns for them to work, we're going to turn all of these cards into something that is user-centric and using the ASA I need so I can format. So let's start. Homepage. As let's say a new user, like a new donor. As a new donor, I need to know what this charity does. Cool. And it's not a homepage, but it's what the homepage would probably do. So I need to know what this charity does enough to want to see more. Cool. Now it's from the point of view of the customer and it's got an outcome. Donate functionality. As a supporter, I need to use my credit card to donate online so I can support the cause. We've just noticed that we've created a card that says, as a supporter, I want to use my credit card to donate online. Now that we're thinking user-centric, we've got to think, well, maybe there are some people that are going to look at the website that don't have a credit card or don't want to use their credit card online. We might add another card called, as a donor without a credit card, I want to call up the charity so I can organize a donation some other way. We're going to have like a phone number or something on the website. I'm going to go through and do the rest of these. Terms and conditions. As someone who's worried about legalities, I need to know what terms and conditions and privacy policy this website adheres to. Cool. Email sign up. Cool, so this is someone who's a bit more engaged. Ask someone who wants to stay up to date, I need to sign up for regular news from the charity. An About Us page. Now this is a funny one. Why do we want an About Us page? We might want an About Us page from the point of the user so that they can know that we're legit and that we do a bunch of good stuff and we have good people. Or it might be that people in the organization want an About Us page just so that we can show off our pretty faces. We'll try and be user-centric with this. As a user who doesn't yet trust the charity, I want to see the people who work there so I know I can trust them. Cool. The neat thing about this is that what we thought might be an about page is realistically just reinforcing a sense of trust by showing the people that work there. We could put a row of faces down the bottom of the website or something else. Importantly, we're being user-centric and we're talking about the outcome. About our board. Well, let's just say that we've got a board that is very excited to be part of this organization. As a board member, I want to see my pretty face on the site so I can show other people that I'm involved with an awesome organization. So it's kind of a different focus to the end user. We're now thinking of board members as a user. Blog. A lot of organizations think they need a blog, but they struggle to say from a user's perspective why the blog is important. Let's give it a go. As a supporter of the organization, I want to know what the org is doing week to week. So maybe I have something to share with friends. Maybe so I know they're doing their jobs. Is this about accountability or marketing? Let's just say it's so I can know what the organization is doing week to week and feel like the org is busy and productive. Cool. Nearly there. Crowdfunding page. As a supporter of a specific program at this org, I need to be able to support just that program. Now, our guess is that this is going to be crowdfunding. Community action. So this is the idea of a community action page. As a member of the community, I want to know how I can get involved with the charity at a local level. Credit cards. As a donor, I want the charity to remember my credit card details so I don't have to type them in every time I donate. Cool, so now you can see we've taken all of our cards and we've put them into the ASA I need so I can format. And we've actually changed some of them around so that they are slightly different to what we thought as soon as we look at them from the user's point of view. The next step now is to say, how difficult do we think these tasks are? Now, we can do this ourselves and take a rough guess. If we had a developer or somebody that was writing the codes that was helping out with this, we might do this together and collaborate on how difficult we think each task is together. But let's just give it a whirl. We'll start at the top. As a new donor, I need to know what this charity does enough to want to see more. We're going to use the labels functionality here. I'm going to click labels and I'm going to say, let's just use green for 2 hours of work. We'll use yellow for a full day of work. We'll use orange for a full week of work. And then we'll use red for so big it's difficult to know. We've roughly doubled the quantum between each of those steps. And now we can say, knowing what this charity does enough to want to see more, I would hope that the developer can do that bit of functionality in about 2 hours. So I've used a green label. Now we can go through all the other ones and try the same thing. Credit card to donate online. That sounds like it might be pretty tricky. So I'm going to add the full week of work to that. I can imagine that credit card donations is pretty tricky. Terms and conditions page. This has got to be easy. Let's make that a simple one. Signing up for regular news. That's also got to be pretty easy. There are services like MailChimp and other online mail letter providers that I can use. So I'll go easy for that as well. Let's go through and do the rest. As a user doesn't want to trust the charity, I want to see the people that work there. Realistically, this is going to involve getting pictures of everyone in the organization and getting them to write things about themselves. So we're going to assume this is like a full day of work. For the board members, probably the same deal. We've got to take pictures of them all. They've got to be happy with their bios. I'm going to make this a full day of work again. For supporters of the org who want to know what the organization's doing, some kind of blog maybe. This is so ill-defined that I'm going to say it's going to take a full week of work because we're going to have to write some blog posts, get the functionality working. It sounds kind of tricky. As a supporter of a specific program, I need to be able to do some crowdfunding. Wow, this is really hard. I'm going to go so big it's difficult to know. Something about community involvement, that sounds relatively easy. We'll say that's a full day of work. Having the site remember my credit card details. Let's say a couple of hours. Realistically, once we've got credit card donations going, having it store cards shouldn't be that hard. And then, as a donor with a credit card, I want to call it the charity. This is literally just putting a phone number somewhere. So at this point, we'll put under 2 hours. Now, the weird thing about Agile is that if we have a task on our list that is less than the smallest quantum of time, in our case, a couple of hours, you just use the smallest one you can. And that's it. We've now made our cards customer-centric, and we've given them t-shirt sizes. The next step is to figure out what stuff will we put in our MVP. What is the absolute minimum necessary to get this done? I would say if our goal is to do some fundraising, then we definitely want donors to know what we do and to be excited to learn more. We also want to be able to take credit cards online because we're doing some fundraising. Do we care about terms and conditions? This is tricky, but we don't absolutely definitely need this page for the website to be live. So I'm going to skip that. We like the idea of staying up to date and having some kind of mailing list. But the funny thing about an MVP that we're going to do this week is that we want to only do the things necessary for the thing to exist, not the stuff necessary for the thing to grow. And a mailing list helps the website grow. So we'll leave that. What about trusting the charity and seeing people who work there? Let's put that on and see if we can do it in line with the other stuff, because I think it's pretty important. Trust. The idea of a blog, knowing what the org is doing week to week, this is really hard. It's an orange task and I have to get people to write the blogs. It's not necessary to get started. Crowdfunding, this is just in the too hard basket. We'll leave that as red. As a member of the community, I want to know how I can get involved. Not necessary for us to actually launch. As a donor without a credit card, I want to call up the charity so I can organize a donation. Absolutely. From this list, you can see that we've got a few little items about donating some cash, and we've got the idea of helping new donors to understand what we do so that they can see more. We can see from this that we've got 2 green items, which is 2 hours and 4 hours. We've got a yellow item, which is a full day, and we've got an orange item, which is a full week of work. So the funny thing about this is we've just given ourselves a full week plus half a day plus 4 hours. This sounds like enough work for 2 people to do over the week. This is where we're going to use Trello's user system. We go over here and hit Show Menu. I'm going to go Add Members. And I'm going to add Claire Carmody. This invites Claire to the team. And then on these items, I can use the team member functionality to add team members to be responsible for various things. So let's say making people love us. Claire's really good at language, so we'll put her on that. As a donor without a credit card, let's say that that's a technical thing, so I'm going to deal with that. As a user who doesn't trust the charity, I want to see the people. Well, maybe both of us have to do that. So I'm going to select myself and Claire. Credit card donations online. I'm more technical than Claire on this stuff, so we'll say that that's mine. The cool thing about doing stuff this way is it means that we get to see who is responsible for what, and we can use the filter cards mechanism here to show only my stuff or only Claire's stuff. And then we can see where it is in the process. So that's our Kanban board. We've got a backlog that we can add items to. We know what this week of work is like, and we will, as we do stuff, progress things through to testing it with some real users, and finally, getting it live. Now, I've actually skipped a few things that a more technical person might bring up, that are necessary for things like an MVP. What I would want to do is add hosting and a domain name. We need hosting and a domain name for the thing to exist. But if we're going to be truly agile about this, I would be putting this first in the backlog. Then I would be making it user-centric. As someone visiting the site, I need to find it on a search engine or type in the domain name. That necessitates setting up some hosting and a domain name, but it's set in a way that everyone can understand. We're going to give it a label of 2 hours, because I have no idea how long this is going to set up, but I'm going to assume it's easy. And we're going to add it to this week. Now, I might not know who's going to take charge of this task, so I just won't put a face on it and I'll leave it there, and once we've done everything else, we'll get to it. And that's essentially it for setting up a Kanban board. The real test now is to actually do the week of work, come back to this list and see what stuff you did and did not do.